Today we're going to learn how to draw hair using charcoal. The first thing you're going to do is find a good reference image to work from. I'm going to be using one of these worksheets that you can find linked below, or you can use any clear reference image. So to begin, I'm going to be drawing here on a sheet of drawing paper, and I've scaled out a box to match the size of my reference photo. If you have the worksheets, you can draw right on the worksheet. Today, I'm going to be drawing on a piece of white drawing paper, just so you can see the details and we can scale it up a bit. So notice I'm drawing very, very lightly, and I'm mapping out the bigger shapes first. I'm not drawing each individual strand of hair. One of the biggest mistakes that people make when they learn how to draw hair is they try to draw each strand as one individual piece. But if you'll notice, there are some darker shapes and some lighter shapes. So you want to get the overall large chunks or the large groups of hair growing together. Next, I'm going to get the darker areas with a brush or a tissue or a blending stump, but I'm not getting concerned about the details. I'm just looking at the larger shapes of shadow. So I'm doing this knowing that I am going to go in and I'm going to pull out some highlights with an eraser, and I'm also going to blend out some of these larger shapes with a blending tool or a tissue. So notice I'm following the direction of the hair, the direction that the hair kind of grows, and I'm grouping some of my lines or my shapes together, and I'm blending out some of these shadows because you really don't see each and every individual strand. When you look at the reference photo, you really see like groups of strands. You can see a few individuals here and there, but this is a lighter color hair, so some of the larger shapes are lighter. So once you have the overall kind of base value and you've kind of blended out some of those darker shapes, the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to deepen your darkest shadows. And again, we're thinking them in terms of larger shapes, not as individual strands. And then we can blend some of that out and get some of those middle tones. And for those lighter values, those highlights, I'm not worrying about keeping the white of the paper right now because I'm going to use my eraser as a tool in a little bit. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to pull out some of those shapes, those lighter shapes. And then I'm going to use the blending stump to get some of those values on the larger shapes of highlights and kind of blend, because each chunk has some lights and some darks and some middle tones. So it's really kind of a push and a pull, and using the eraser to pull out those highlights and to pull out some of those lighter wispy kind of flyaway strands, and kind of blending them out a little bit, because as you can see, each strand isn't just light or dark, it has its own like transition of value. So after you pull out your highlights, then you go in with the blending stump and kind of soften some of those and add some more of the details. So as you can see, we are working with larger shapes first, and then once we have the larger shapes in, then you can go in and refine and look for some of those smaller strands of hair. But the trick is to not draw each individual strand, look at the larger shapes, use your blending tools, and have fun.